Today I'm going to talk about research topic, problem, aim and the solutions. My research title is Creating Effective Public Transport Network while also developing attractive coastal towns through designing new waterborne transport nodes in Auckland. My research question is, how can Auckland significantly increase the waterborne share of public transport while also developing attractive coastal towns at the nodes of water transport network? And this project will be aiming to gain knowledge about Auckland infrastructure network, to gain understanding about future growth of Auckland, to find out relevant precedents, to develop a methodology using network analysis, to analyze the coverage of transport network, to design a speculative water transport technology for Auckland, to design a new transport plan for the site. Let's have a look at the reasons behind why this research is necessary. Auckland is located in North Island of New Zealand. It has a population of 1.4 million, which is 31% of the total population of the nation. And this is one of the most livable city in the world, and it contains more water than the land. These pictures show some transport pattern of Auckland. And secondly, let's have a look at the reasons behind why transport infrastructure development is important in Auckland. The first reason is Auckland has been ranked the 10th most livable city in the world. The Economist Intelligence Unit has released its report on 140 cities. For the 5th time in a row, Auckland became top 10 in 2040. Auckland scored perfect 100 for education, 97 for environment, 95.7 for healthcare, but only scored 92.7 for infrastructure. Due to this reason, Auckland put behind 9 other cities. The second reason is traffic congestion. In a survey published in 2014 over 138 cities in 6 continents, the navigation firm TomTom has found Auckland to be the 22nd most congested city in the world. And the third reason is poor transport network in many coastal and rural areas. And the fourth reason is Auckland Transport Plan, page number 42, indicates that the future role of ferry services within the new network is in need of further review. And I have found some methodologies to sort these problems out. My methodologies at this stage are literature review of different theoretical view, case studies of relevant precedents, stakeholders' current and proposed plan, a review, site selection, design of the site, and reflection. Transport can be studied in a network viewpoint. Before look at the Auckland transport pattern, if you look at some network theory, it's easy to understand Auckland transport in a network viewpoint. This is the structural component of the transport network. Feeder, hub, gateway, corridor are part of the structural component beyond the nodes and edges, because basic network system functioning as a network. At the same time, transport functioning as a network as well. It has nodes and edges. Terminals and stations will be acting as nodes. At the same time, routes and roads will be acting as edges. Random and scale-free network are popular in transport in complex network. A fixed number of nodes connected by random edges, when they involve with more nodes and edges, it's time for smaller to larger, which is called scale-free network. And there are 3 general network models, such as including centralized, decentralized, and the distributed network. Centralized network control the every individual units. The decentralized system was developed after centralized system. Decentralized system distribute the power for many units. Distributed network doesn't have a center point. It doesn't depend on a center point, which is the major plus point of the distributed network. Now it's easy to look at Auckland transport in a network viewpoint, because we have already looked at some network theory. These are the places where nodes and edges are located under current and proposed 2018 and 2025 transport network. Bus network takes leading role in Auckland public transport network. It has formed with 13 major interchanges and 24 intermediate interchanges, and there are a few minor interchanges. The second biggest public transport system on Auckland is train. Therefore, 48 train stations all over the Auckland, and there are 16 stations located from Papakura to Britomai in a straight row. And the third and least public transport system in Auckland is ferry. There are 3 ferry terminals in CBD area, and other terminals are located in North Shore and Manuka City. At the same time, there are a few ferry terminals are located even without single connector network under the new network. For example, Bayswater and Stanley Bay. Water transport development is priority than the other transport development. There are many reasons behind it, because Auckland is a linear city surrounded by water. It contains more water than the lands. So creating more nodes through water transport is practical and appropriate. And Duanisa is trying to cure traffic congestion by adding more motorways, like trying to cure obesity by loosening your belt. And the booming demand of ferry terminal is another reason, in particular Birkenhead, Half Moon Bay, and the Devonport ferry terminals. The other reason is there are already many cities are successful in water transport in the world. Therefore, I have been looking at how water transport has been handled around the world. Good examples are Sydney, Australia, San Francisco, USA, and Vancouver, Canada. Particular Sydney. Sydney is the main business city of Australia. The only practical way to travel around CBD area is ferries. Therefore, ferries are carrying 14.7 million passengers every year. Let's move to design method. My design method will add up many network model and theories. It will consider about existing ferry terminal and other transport network, including bus, and EV's ideas and stakeholders' proposed plan will be taken into the consideration. My main transport network design going to be under 2 zones, such as inner circle and the outer circle. The places that have direct lands connection with CBD area are going to be under the inner circle. Places that are separated by water going to be under the outer circle. As I mentioned earlier, when smaller network need to be expanded as larger, scale-free network will be applied. Therefore, scale-free network is the tool for inner circle design. Outer circle design only going to be focusing on connecting new ferry terminal with the existing ferry terminal. Therefore, centralized network is the tool for outer circle. When networks get wider through the water transport enhancement, equilibrium will be created in most cases. Equilibrium means more route options for passengers. As shown in the first image, link 1 and link 2 will take passenger from node O to node D. Travel distance could be different, but travel time will be same in the equilibrium method. Travel distance of route 1 could be less than route 2, but when passengers see free flow on route 2, passengers option going to be route 2, even if it is long distance, because end of the day travel time going to be the same. However, the major design goals are different beyond the equilibrium. Major outer circle network for CBD area to create access for service and facilities. Inner circle, outer circle network connection with neighboring suburb for employment opportunities, walking and cycle paths for healthy lifestyle. More landscape and park design for low impact urban design, master plan design for creating attractive coastal communities, and public open space design for sports and active recreation activities. And GIS and geodesign take a major role in designing this project. These are the component of GIS, and Shapefile is the major inputting data method for GIS. And design ideas of landscape architect can be expressed through visualization. GIS is a significant tool for visualizing ideas because of its advanced technology in modeling. It helps to make decision on project or find answer for a question in geographic discipline. Basically, geoprocessing is a prediction or imagination which will get visualization and making a decision through evaluating particular proposal. For example, this one. Let's move to the site selection. Site selection has been finalized after analyzing current and proposed stakeholders' plan and EB's ideas. And Browns Bay is my site. This is located on North Shore Ward, and this is under the local governance of Auckland Council. And this place is suggested for new ferry terminal by Auckland Council and Auckland Transport. This is the aerial map of Browns Bay. Site analysis of Browns Bay has been done under 3 categories, such as abiotic, planning, and the social categories. Under the abiotic category, coastal inundation, elevation, and floodplain has been identified. Under the planning categories, bus network, unitary plan, road, and the historic heritage have been identified. Under the social category, house, motor vehicle access, and family type have been identified. After analyzing all these categories, it was able to understand many facts about Browns Bay. In particular, after analyzing abiotic and planning category, it was able to understand that there is no major or exceptional challenges in this project. There are many general and special requirements for a ferry terminal. A ferry terminal should have sufficient space for making a ferry terminal functional and safe. And the special requirement of ferry terminal is water depth of marina. 2.1 meter is required for smaller ferries. 2.6 meter is required for 14 meter of medium ferries. 32 meter is required for 20 meter larger ferries. This is under the Marina Code AS 3962. Browns Bay has suitable deeper channel for the ferry terminal, which is the major plus point of Browns Bay. 2 to 10 meter deep 2 tracks has been identified for the ferry terminal. An identified track is minimum depth of the sea at all the time, because zero value of sea contour and zero value of land contour are different. As shown in the image, a zero value of sea contour and zero value of land contour start from different point. So the identified track is minimum depth of the sea at all the time.
5 minutes.
Ferry terminal based new transport network has been designed. This shows that how a new ferry terminal can create transport network with other ferry terminals. This Browns Bay ferry terminal can be connected with 24 hours and the frequency services with CBD area. At the same time, it can be connected to Waiheke Island, Half Moon Bay, and the Devonport. Inner circle network control the passengers' mobility of outer circle as well. The beach road cover the north and south network. At the same time, Khalid Road cover the west side. At the same time, Glencoe Road will have indirect connection with the West Coast Road. When inner circle and outer circle are connected together, a strong and reliable network will be created. So last 40 years, transport network determined the urban pattern of Auckland. Therefore, it is necessary to look at what kind of changes could happen in Browns Bay. Therefore, ferry wharf, mixed housing, mixed use, public open space, bus station, road, water, and bus route zones are designed. Public transport network, topography, landscape features, historic heritage, current urban patterns, stakeholders plan, hydrological catchment, building heights have been taken into the consideration. At the same time, this plan aiming to maintain what already makes this place special, in particular green elements and the park. For example, beachfront lane park and the landscape design. This sea area has been protected by green landscaping element, and the surrounding area is going to be single housing zone to maintain a good looking topography. This is the town center with maximum height of 32.5 meter, and the area have less influence with the town center, and the slope area going to be the mixed housing zone. And this area has direct influence with the town center, which is going to be the terrace housing zone, and these are the mixed use. This is the bus station. People easily can walk to the bus station as it has nice and flat area. Also, bus network is connected with interconnected with ferry terminal as well. There are many similarities and a few differences between Auckland unitary plan and the current proposed plan. This area has direct influence with the town center, and it is allocated for mixed use by Auckland Council. At the same time, this area is allocated for terrace housing under this plan. And this area between Beachfront Lane and Clyde Road is allocated for town center here. It is allocated for mixed use here. And there are many direct and indirect benefits behind this project. One of the least congested cities in the world, and water transport, urbanism are the direct benefits. At the same time, beach lifestyle, easy transport access, and affordable housing, attractive urban areas are indirect benefits. I have another 2 months to submit my thesis, so I am going to do another mass modeling to illustrate this plan. That's my next step of this project while writing the thesis. Thank you.
Before we start questions, I'd just like to introduce Chris Pack to everyone. Chris is Chief Economist for Auckland Council. And you joined?
At the beginning of last year, so very sorry I was late for the presentation.
Okay. So we've got about 20 minutes to ask Shan questions about his project. I guess questions can be kind of about the research question, how you feel he's framed that research question up, how you feel I guess at this stage, how you feel the design how does the design address that research question, and are there some ways in which you think he could make things clearer or kind of explicate some part of it? You're really helping him for his exam in a couple of months' time. That would be great. That. So,
Shan, if you can put the first question up.
Okay.
Catherine, do you want to your name? No?
Can I last?
You're going to go last, okay. One, you pick off.
Okay, let's start with something really, really easy, hopefully. What does abiotic means?
Sorry.
The word abiotic.
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 What does means?
This abiotic means what you call, which was naturally created in this area. So, yeah.
Okay.
These ones are man-made, like
Okay. Yeah. Not living. Yeah. Just about the presentation.
Yeah.
One basic little thing.
Yeah.
If it is on the screen and I can read it at the same speed that you can read it, I don't need you to read the screen because we are both reading at the same time.
Yeah.
So when you do a presentation, I'm interested on things that you say that I cannot read myself on the screen.
Yeah.
So that is a general through it. One thing about the goals that you listed in one of the things, you are talking about low urban impact.
Yeah.
I cannot really see it from that 3D view.
Yeah.
which brings me to the third
Oh,
thing.
you can see this here.
Which brings me to the third thing,
Yeah.
is that if you are comparing,
Yeah.
you need to compare things on the same basis.
Yeah.
If you are comparing a 3D view, it should be compared with another 3D view of the existing,
Yeah.
with the same coloring, so you can identify quickly
Yeah.
what you are seeing there and what you are seeing, what you are proposing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I need to be, an expert on unitary plan in Auckland and an expert in Browns Bay typology and so
Unitary
on,
plan here.
to understand what you are proposing.
Yeah.
So that will be really my first impression
Yeah.
of the thing. I think you got rid of the aerial view of Browns Bay
Yeah.
too quickly. You show it
Quickly.
on the air, and then it's like within a second, Browns Bay disappears. He diagrams. Here we come.
The
And that
reason
kind
is
of-
I will get 30 minutes for the final exam with the same slides, but today I only got 17 minutes, so
Yeah.
you have to sorry about that.
No, just
Yeah.
kind of. And other than that,
Okay. So I thought that I was very interested in that connection of the network,
Yeah.
versus the kind of site, and I understand maybe that the site selection was just an example of applying that, so that where it was perhaps wasn't necessarily an important part. I did think there was a bit of a disconnect between your main goals, as you said. I mean, I was really interested in some of those goals, but they really didn't come through, and I similarly had some kind of questions. Initially, I didn't know when you were talking about the proposed zoning, whether it was the unitary plan proposed zoning or your own proposed zoning. I think you need to make it really clear.
Okay.
And I didn't get an explanation of why you had made the changes you had. You said that here's a comparison, but I didn't get an understanding of what you were trying to achieve, or how those, what were the improvements that you were making over the proposal. I think, given that it's a combination of the kind of attractive coastal setting environment and the network, I think you've underplayed that part of it. Other than that, I thought it kind of came together very well, that connecting the two and how the synergy works. I think I'm sure Chris would have questions about the economics. I certainly had some questions which I don't think probably fit here, but in terms of kind of
what I'm trying to propose
and
here is
amenity and
under
how
the
that would actually work. I think, but that's a different question, really.
I will have some kind of more general feedback, and first of all, I'd like to say that I'm incredibly impressed with the amount of work that's gone into this presentation, and fascinated by the idea of using our kind of our waterways to address some of the problems with major problems with Auckland transport. I guess that when I was looking at some of your slides, as someone who's not an expert in landscape design, and I think it's very much to do with your timing. They were very difficult some of the slides were very difficult to actually be able to read or understand. They were so small, or elements of them were very small on some of the slides. Not all of them by any means, but that's something to think about, because there's an absolute, huge amount of information that you're presenting. And I think that sort of links on to my second point, which is about kind of greater connection back to your research question as you present your information. You know, kind of keep linking back to it, because I think that I got lost in some of that depth of information in terms of what you're really wanting to achieve in this project. So if you're returning to the how, and how we're going, you know, I'm proposing that we can address this, and how this grounds-based site is an example of the ways in which, you know, we can significantly increase the waterborne transportation and maintain the quality of the coastal communities. These may be outside your field of practice, or not significant ideas to be thinking about, again maybe falling into that kind of general perspective, but I was thinking about things like mentioning or sort of addressing some of the cost issues. I didn't pick up on that as much as maybe I think that looking at these designs, that's your focus, but it would be nice to have some sense of you know, if we don't address this transport, there might be significant, you know, cost benefit analysis, or, you know, some kind of contextualization of these plans. So that, as someone who's not, you know, from your discipline, that would have been useful to me. And linked to the second part of your research question, I was just sort of interested more in the kind of sustainable elements and the protection of the coastal communities. And I know you talked about that, but maybe there's room for some more. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yes, so apologies for missing the beginning, and what it means is I might ask some dumb questions that you covered off really well in the first part. So what I'm asking myself, as an economist, I'm probably thinking about this more commercially rather than economically. So what are the incentives? So what are the incentives in terms of the accessibility? What are the incentives for ferry operators to provide the frequency of trips that would be necessary to make the area attractive enough for people to want to live there to the scale that you're targeting? What's the fees and cost system for that? It looks like it's as far away as Waiheke, which Waiheke ferry costs quite a lot. We do that as a special treat rather than looking down the barrel of doing that routinely. Could be a disincentive for locating there, unless there's good accessibility in other respects. I see the red lines on the other map, and it looks like there are good transport road connectivity, but I don't know how close or how easy it is to hook into the arterial roads from there, because I don't know location that area all that well myself personally.
You want me to quickly explain the missing part?
Missing part?
Yeah, the beginning.
No, not for everyone. And also wondering about the other infrastructures in terms of wastewater and drinking water, and if how ready they are to service a community like this. Do they currently get a green tick, or is this contingent on those networks being built, and what's the outlook?
Because the thing is, we don't have Burkish water or something in Brownsville or all over the Auckland.
You don't have what, sorry?
The Burkish water. We were talking about Burkish water, right? Is it?
Workish water?
Waste. Yeah.
Not the waste water. Burkish. What's
Bracket,
that? The salt
Stormwater?
water.
Stormwater.
No.
Brackish.
Brackish water.
Brackish
Sorry.
water.
What?
Is that drinking water?
Brackish.
No, brackish.
What is brackish
I don't
water?
brackish.
Like salt.
Stagnant.
Salt.
It doesn't
okay.
really matter.
So we have seawater everywhere.
Yeah.
So we're proposing those sort of water transport there.
Okay, so drinking water pipes would need to be provided.
I think what Chris is saying is if this becomes bigger, across the ferry thing, the infrastructure in Browns Bay is only a certain size. You've got all these new people there. Do you need to make the existing infrastructure for water power? Does it need to
Wastewater.
wastewater? Does that need to become bigger?
I think that comes into that kind of comparison, you
Yeah.
know. I don't know whether you are proposing to accommodate a huge number of new people or whether you're distributing it differently. We didn't get that explanation. Yeah,
Yeah, I think I'm.
So when you compare with the unitary plan,
Yeah.
yeah. What
you are proposing to have more people, less people, the same amount of
More
people,
people.
different
More people?
organization.
More
How many more people?
It could be double the amount.
which is where the infrastructure
So
comes
it's-
in,
so
you know,
it's-
Is that feasible
Yeah, it's feasible.
in
yeah.
terms of
the infrastructure.
can you get enough drinking water there to serve that many people, or would you need to spend another many millions of dollars building new pipes, or can the wastewater treatment capacity
Because,
serve twice as many people there?
At the moment, the infrastructure is more than enough for the people who is living in Browns Bay. Because of the lack of public transport access, the dwelling criteria and the urban development is restricted. Other than that, the
Okay.
infrastructure
So
is
that's an
perfect in
important
Auckland.
thing
Yeah.
for you
Yeah.
to say. So
Yeah.
you're saying that the existing
Yeah.
road transport network is constraining development in Browns Bay, and that
Yeah.
the new ferry will open it up.
Yeah.
We didn't get that.
Yeah, doesn't come across.
Oh,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
so you've got it there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
maybe part of the model is so why aren't ferries already happening? Perhaps because there aren't enough people there, and perhaps the
Yeah.
cost would be too much, and there aren't enough people
Yeah.
to spread it over. So you've got a chicken and egg problem. So maybe the solution is you talk to the people in the area and say, look, if we can get a great ferry that goes frequently over a large part of the day, so people feel like they have good accessibility, then that would increase the attractiveness of the area. So more people will come, and you can have more development, and the property prices would go up. To
Yeah.
the benefit of the landowners there.
Yeah.
So maybe it's in the incentives of the landowners to come to an agreement with via the council, or maybe direct with ferry operators to pay a targeted rate or some sort of subsidy for more public transport users for the benefit of growing the area for their own commercial benefit.
Yeah.
And is that a model that has been done? Is there a good track record of that? Is that perhaps where the more commercial elements of what you're trying to unlock is? If you got the residents, the landowners there, agreeing to have fast, cost-effective, frequent ferry travel,
Yeah.
then you can unleash the kind of development that you're after.
So then maybe they can pay for this improved infrastructure if you need it.
Yeah.
So I think what Chris is saying is you do give the precedence of other cities in the world which have ferries, but I think he's saying you need to
Yeah.
dig a little bit deeper into that and exactly the
Incentives for the ferry operators to
how they
provide
work.
it.
Yeah.
Incentives for people to take it, both in terms of the prices that they'd have to
Yeah.
pay, and in terms of how frequent they come, and do they span just the AM and PM peak, or are they all day? Do they have off-peak in the weekend?
Bearing in mind, it's a landscape architecture. We don't usually do a lot of cost benefit stuff because it's
no.
difficult to value. You
But
know,
I'm just thinking about the incentives to
landscape.
realise that the players are the people who might want to live there, and the providers of the accessibility, because that once you get that unlocked, then bang, the area can boom, and then you come into making it really sizzle with the well-designed area. So
But I think, as Matthew said, what you can do is use your San Francisco, was it, your other example,
Yes.
and maybe look at how they made it work, if there is that research that you can do.
There is proposed ferries on Browns Bay.
Yes, that's right.
And
But-
this is
but
one of the
yeah.
suggested ferry terminal location by council as well. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One
Yeah.
of those three.
But
yeah.
it is that kind of connecting your model
Yeah.
with,
The
you know, the
research.
ferry, because that's your project. Developing
Yeah.
attractive coastal communities, not just putting in a ferry.
I mean,
So
I think
it does need to be.
you're not saying what these people are saying. I think everyone kind of believes your story.
Yeah.
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 They're just actually asking you to backfill it.
Okay.
Yes, and do that feedback loop
Yeah,
constantly.
and
Would
keep
be really
referring-
good.
It's
Yes.
just the articulation of
Yes.
it. I think
Yeah,
and the
it's
sort of
there.
slightly the structuring of the points. Because
Yes.
if you lay a little bit more of foundation, then everyone can follow what you understand and what you know.
Okay.
Because
sure
when I
it's
was
there.
first, listening to the story and thinking back to the research question, thinking stories, I wasn't aware that it was about, initially, I didn't really understand that it was about Browns Bay doubling in size or being able to accommodate significant growth, because I was thinking dealing with, increasing waterborne transportation, because we've got a problem now, not about the next element, which was about changing Browns Bay to redistribute the kind of space and population according to maybe the network analysis. So it was kind of a little step for me.
Yeah.
And you might be able to combine those network diagrams. You spend a lot of time going through each individual one, and really we didn't need to know that detail. We just need to know there are several models. Here they are, and Browns Bay, this is how I'm going to apply it, because we didn't get that either.
There's some lovely rich stuff you have here. So, it's impressive in that way.
Comments from Professor Conrad?
I guess I agree with what you guys said, that it needs a bit of backfilling and stronger communication. But just, I guess, without wanting to put words in Shan's mouth, but I guess his project has two stages. One is that alternative water transport, and he identifies some locations and shows how there are options for alternative routes, and then just he picks up one location and exemplifies how coastal community may be developed.
That's right.
So
It doesn't need to justify.
The two are connected, the networks, and so the project is about both.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was a kind of a strong part of it. Yeah.
Okay, so if people want to write their comments down,
Yeah.
quickly, and while we change over, thanks very much. That's great. We've already clapped.